Hello, my beautiful rebels and questioners of authority. Whew. It's been a day for me. Just feeling through the different energies, working through the stuff that got, I guess, okayed for my to-do list. And hmm, welcome, my fellow rebels and questioners of authority, to this weekly energy update for the week of July 12th. This week, we got four cards. All of them come from the Animal Spirit deck. And the energy, the overarching theme comes from this little guy, the Firefly. And it lets us know that you are the light. Just like the Firefly, you are capable of generating your own light. If you guys remember from last week's energy update, I noted that the theme for this month is you are whole and you are the light because you are whole. You don't need to get light from others. You don't need to get power from others. It's all you, baby. And yes, it's all up to you, and that can feel like a lot sometimes. But it also means that you get the power, you have the choice to be powerful and to choose, as, to some extent, how heavy or how light you make it. Now I'm forgetting because I don't think it was last week. I think it might have been the week before in the weekly reading. There was a card from the Osho Zen Tarot deck called The Burden. And in it, we get to choose the burdens we pick up, and preferably, you're choosing to put the burdens down, to stop carrying and letting all of these things that aren't yours dictate and direct your life. You are the light, but there are things that you need to do or steps you need to take, choices you need to make in order to generate that light, to sustain yourself, to come to that full realization that you are whole. And before I go on to the next card, I do want to note it was in one of my daily readings. I think it was this past Monday, where, what of that? That'd be July 6th, I think. So that was released on, you can find that in my shorts on YouTube or on Instagram or Facebook in my reels. But the the realization that I had was you are whole, I am whole. But remember that we are not our minds, we're not our bodies. So they are not necessarily whole or completely healthy or healed just because we've realized that we are whole. That the healing of our minds and our bodies, bringing them into coherence with our wholeness, into synergy, into harmony with our wholeness, that's gonna take it's gonna take some effort, some intention, some action on your part, some choice. And I think one of the things that seems to come through a lot in this week's energy reading, starting with the lizard card, which was the second card drawn, is you're gonna have to rest. You're gonna have to make the choice to give yourself time for rest. The lizard, you can think of them as being solar powered, but they aren't recharging by running around in the sun. They're recharging by finding a nice warm rock and lying on it and resting. And they're staying vigilant. They're staying aware. They're staying present when they're resting. Resting is not the same as sleep. They are not synonymous. You absolutely can rest while you're sleeping, but you don't have to be asleep to be resting. And in fact, we should be resting more while we are awake, while we are conscious, while we are aware. We should be putting more time, more energy into our rest. This morning when I taught yoga, we had a nice long shavasana, which is where at the end of the yoga class, you lie flat on your back on your mat, or in whatever pose you can invite as much stillness into your body, in, and you rest for several minutes. And we are so used to go, 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 do, 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 action, action, action. Check those things off our to-do list. And I'm not immune from this, but you need to learn how to rest. I had to learn how to truly rest in order to start healing my body. And I'm still in the process of that. And the lizard, I think, does a really good job of reminding us that while you are the light, you can't necessarily access that light until you rest, until you get really in tune with your wholeness, with who you truly are outside of your mind and body, and then start to bring that into your body, that embodiment piece, which if you're interested in how to do that, please join me in my online community, Embodied. It is now completely free to join. And I just posted our 31st live call in the video library. And there are other videos there for you, from guided meditations to yoga practices. There's somatic sequences and PDF downloadable resources. I'm telling you, it's it's beautiful, and I'm really excited for how it's going to grow as more people join and start to um, participate within the community. But anyway, so we've addressed, coming back to the firefly, you are the light. Lizard, you got to rest, and you got to rest in the light and get support. Use the sun, whether you are in the peak of the summer season or you're in the southern hemisphere in the peak of your winter season. Get some sun. Get some sun, even if it's just 2 minutes, even if you had to bundle up to the nines and it's just your nose and your cheeks that are getting the sun. get some sun. Obviously, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not trying to give you medical advice. You know your body. You know if you have some kind of a sun allergy or a contraindication to getting sun. But but I personally love using the sun as a way to remind my body that it can soak up that sweet love, that sweet comfort, that heat, that life energy. And it helps me, I feel, tap into my own light and grow my own light. And two more cards here. So the whale, and I don't think I have ever drawn the whale before. In the water element, the whale is the most enlightened creature within the water element and makes total sense to me. The whale is very much a carrier of this deep, calm, compassionate, take it slow, take those deep breaths, this energy of presence, of loving compassion. And when I sat down to draw these cards and sit with what the messages were from each card, I actually, I had just had a phone conversation with a very kind woman, very nice woman, but it ended up being 50 minutes of her trying to sell me on something, and she called it not selling, but educating. And I got off the phone and realized that I had given my power away. And I had let myself be taken advantage of and waste 50 minutes of my time. And I barely even got to speak in that conversation. And I came up here and I was so frustrated and I was so ashamed because I fell back into the old story of I need to be nice. I need to placate. I need to make everyone like me or feel good or whatever you want to call that. That's that's the old pattern and it reared its ugly head. And as soon as I got off that call, I realized I fell back into that pattern. And I had this moment where I really just wanted to beat up on myself. And instead, before I even drew the whale card, I drew on that energy of deep compassion and forgiveness for myself. And I let myself feel those things, that resentment, that shame for falling back into an old pattern that I want so desperately to be broken and gone forever. The anger, the frustration, even the sadness. There's a lot going on. And I stopped myself in the middle of pulling cards and I wrapped myself in a blanket and I laid down and just let myself feel. And I did that by inviting this deep compassion and presence into my body, into my mind, into my energy field. And that's what the whale is really calling for you to do, not just this week, but every day. How can you invite that energy in? How can you take that rest that rest while being conscious and aware, and invite that deep compassion in for wherever you're at. And finally, the golden egg. The golden egg in this deck represents the heart chakra. And I just, like, soon as that one came, I'm like, of course, are, because everything was drawing me in this reading to my heart space. Um, there's a reason why so many different religions and spiritual traditions focus on the heart space um, in their iconography, their symbols. I mean, I'm most familiar with Christianity because I grew up in that religion and that tradition. And you talk about inviting Jesus or the Holy Spirit or God into your heart. And your heart space, not the physical organ inside your body, but that energy center, that heart chakra, that's the main entry point for your soul, for God, for the divine to come in and to fill you with that light, that gold, that light that's not an accident here. You look at the gold, the light from the firefly is very much the same colors that you see in that golden egg. And it's that inner sun that you get to invite in, to feel that compassion with, to grow and shine and radiate within every cell of your body and radiate outwards into the world. I invite you right now to just put your hand or both your hands, like I have, over the heart space and just take some deep breaths with me. Personally, I really like breathing in through my nose and sighing it out through my mouth. Invite in your soul's light, God's light, into your heart. Invite in that inner sun and that deep, profound compassion and love. Notice how it starts to fill you up. Let it grow stronger. Let that feeling become stronger inside your heart space, inside the rest of your body as it spreads. Let yourself rest right here, your hand over your heart. That inner sun, that inner light, growing brighter and brighter, spreading through your entire body. Let yourself feel that warm heat. Let it become intense if that's what is starting to happen. Allow yourself to expand your bandwidth for sensation, for feeling, for experiencing. You are completely safe in your body. And you are so held and so deeply loved and supported. Your mind cannot comprehend the depth of this experience, the breadth and power of your light, but it doesn't have to. It is simply here for you to experience without analyzing, without comprehending, just to be. I invite you to take the next several breaths with me in this silence, in this deep, loving, restful, light-filled space. Take as much time here as you're able to allow yourself. And I challenge you and invite you to take moments of quiet away from the noise of the world, away from your phone or your smartwatch, away from the computer, the TV screen. Lock yourself in a bathroom or a closet. Give yourself even just 2 minutes here and there throughout the day to just put your hands on your heart, close your eyes or soften your gaze, and start to call in your light, call in your power, call in your wholeness into your body. If you can't feel it, just imagine it. Your imagination is a deeply, profoundly powerful tool that you can use. We used it all the time as children. And as we grew older, we started to shut that down. The world told us that imagination was for kids. It's not just for kids. It is how we connect. And you can imagine your way into connection, into wholeness. As you fill up with your light, with your power, with your wholeness, you will begin to gain clarity about how to treat your mind and your body, how to bring them into wholeness, into full health. But it needs to come from in here. It needs to come from a place where you are already whole, where you are the light. Otherwise, you'll just keep stumbling around in the dark, fumbling, trying things that don't really work because you haven't gained the clarity to find the next best action for you. Remember, you are the light. You are already whole, and you are so powerful. I love you so much. I'll see you again next week for next week's weekly energy update.